championship matchup very few could have foreseen. The last two teams standing in the center of the ring fight for this championship, just throwing punches and taking punches from each other.
He has determined that they're going to go for this.
He's going to take off and run, diving toward the end zone. Touchdown!
To come out ahead in this game was a lot of guts. I give Miami a lot of credit. They played really hard, took some chances, found a way. Let me tell you, we won the national championship at Indiana University.
The Indiana Hoosiers are the kings of college football.
An incredible game to cap off an incredible run. I mentioned it earlier. Indiana is not the first team to finish 16-0 in a college football season, but they are the first in 130 years. Yale did it in 1894, and Indiana finishes it last night. Jordan Rodgers in studio with us all morning long. We have some more of our crew coming up with us in a moment here, but the drive they'll be talking about and the play they'll be talking about in Bloomington and beyond forever. Show us what it looked like.
Yeah, the 2 fourth downs were unbelievable. Miami's going to be kicking themselves. You know what Indiana wants to do. They got man coverage. They want to send these guys Surratt-Becker vertical and look for that back shoulder throw. So if you're Miami, you got to do one of two things. You either got to help over the top with safety so these corners can play underneath, or you got to bring pressure and make Mendoza get rid of it quick. They don't do either. And watch as this plays out. This is a play call that they're going to be kicking themselves for. Indiana's in max protection. They got 7 guys protecting, only 3 guys in routes. And look at what Miami's going to do. They're only going to rush 3, and that means all these guys sitting here, all these guys, here we go.
All these guys in the middle here basically are doing nothing.
Yeah, look at all these guys right here. Eyes on the quarterback, eyes on the quarterback, eyes on the quarterback. Man coverage, man coverage. That's exactly what Mendoza wants to see, and you just can't stop the back shoulder. It's too good by Becker down the stretch. They needed to change it up the coverage or bring pressure. And then I love the 4th down call in the red zone. Cignetti said, we saw something in coverage, and we wanted to attack it. Here's what they saw. They saw that when they came out in 2-by-2 with the receiver to the slot here, they're going to double coverage. They're going to bracket. They're going to do the same thing on the other side, but this is the important side here. They're actually going to walk this linebacker out of the box, which means now you only have 5 guys in the box. So call quarterback draw. You got numbers. You got a running back that can block. Quarterback adds to the blocking scheme, and watch what that does. That means backside right here, there is no forced defender. Right here. Look at all this open grass. Because of the bracket coverage backside, no forced defender. Now, it wasn't blocked up perfectly, but Mendoza does the rest, and it was a great design knowing they're going to come out in bracket coverage. They're going to double the slot, which means we have the blocking advantage, the numbers in the box. It was a great play call to decide not to kick the field goal, to come back, drop this play, knowing what you saw the play before. That play will live on forever. Not just the play by Mendoza. The decision and the play call were massive.
Yeah, choosing when to go for it on 4th down and when not to, which obviously has become such a part of the NFL game these days. Fascinating decisions made last night by Curt Cignetti, and I guess you'd have to say he got them all right. We got Josh Pate, we got Dusty Dvoracek up with us early from Miami, where candidly it looks beautiful this morning, so I am envious. Dusty, we have not heard from you yet so far. Let's start there. Just how would you describe, I've seen your notes, so I'm cheating, but how would you describe what Indiana, the story they finished writing last night, this 16-0 season for a program that 2 years ago had been the losingest in the history of college football?
Yeah, Greeny, great to be with you. Look, it's remarkable. It's the greatest turnaround we've seen, not in college football history, but I think in American sports history, from absolute worst to ever do it to undefeated 16-0 national champions. It's incredible. And I think really it also speaks to the rest of college football that, as Kevin Garnett once said, anything is possible. Like, this has to give a lot of hope and belief to a lot of programs out there, Greeny. And I just think of Curt Cignetti, the coaching job he's done, and the belief he had to instill in everybody in that organization from day one. Then it was talent evaluation, both staff and players, and to get everyone to come together to buy in and become a team. Because that's what this was, and last night embodied. A team performance, and this is a true team that came together. It's execution, it's discipline, and gotta have at moments, guys stepping up and living up to the moment. Just an incredible season, and what a national championship. We saw it on full display last night.
There's so many different parts of this story that I think are interesting. Pate, let's focus on one of them. I've been at ESPN a really long time. So we went through a period of, let's call it roughly 20 years, where the Southeastern Conference completely dominated college football. And most of that, or at least much of it, was Nick Saban at Alabama, but it certainly wasn't just Alabama. It was also Georgia and LSU. And the SEC just completely dominated the sport, and that's the way it was. And sometimes when things happen that way, it feels like it's going to be that way forever. We are now living in a world where Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana, 3 different Big Ten teams, have won the last 3 national championships. What do we say about the way the balance of power has shifted, Josh Pate, in college football?
I think you just said a lot of things could be talked about with this game. I kind of feel the same way about the shift in the landscape of college football. Greeny, it's like 40 different things happening simultaneously. Now, those always get labeled as 2 things, NIL, portal. Okay, but you also have big media money flowing into college football, specifically the 2 conferences we're talking about. Some of these places have invested that money very wisely, very soundly. It's a crapshoot, I'll grant you that. There wasn't a massive market for Curt Cignetti when Indiana went and got him, which is yet another layer of beauty in this story. But success principles are success principles. Now, maybe 10 years ago it wouldn't have mattered because your Alabamas of the world had such a talent edge on the rest of the world that they could bring their C game, you could bring your A game, and that just meant they won by 3 touchdowns instead of 5 touchdowns. But today, with the flattening of the sport, and by flattening, I just mean all the talent sort of being pushed to the middle, so to speak, it makes these sorts of things possible. Grant you, this is a huge outlier of a result. Curt Cignetti is an outlier of an individual. Indiana football is an outlier of a program. But it went from impossible to just highly improbable, yet attainable if you put all those success principles together. And that's exactly what he did.
I'll ask it again and just in a simpler way. At this moment, is the Big Ten the dominant conference in college football?
Yeah, I'll tell you what Pate wasn't able to get out. Yes, the Big Ten is the dominant force in college football right now. Look, for Indiana to win it, it's remarkable for Indiana. But the 3rd different Big Ten team to win it in 3 years, that's incredible. You got to go back to the early 40s, 1940, 1942, the last time the Big Ten has won 3 straight national championships. And to do it by 3 different teams, you get Michigan, you get Ohio State, but now Indiana. The Big Ten to me feels different. Since we've had this NIL shift, they've got big, massive alumni bases with some big pockets. And it's not just about NIL dollars, but that's a piece of this. And they have come to the party, and they are here to play, and I think they're here to stay. I think an incredible statement made last night, not just by Indiana, but by the Big Ten Conference.
That's why I'm wearing my purple today. Northwestern could be next. Let me turn to you then on this one, Jordan. Fernando Mendoza, we saw Tom Brady standing on the sideline last night, a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. We saw their majority owner, whatever he's just said, the guy who makes the decisions there, Mark Davis, also there to watch Fernando Mendoza. What did they see last night? Is there any doubt in your mind that he is the #1 pick in this year's NFL draft?
No, there's no doubt that he's the #1 because the Raiders need a quarterback. Now, the problem is I don't think he's your traditional #1 pick because the elite talent, like physical arm talent, mobility and speed, that's not him. But how did Tom Brady win in the NFL? Between the ears, right? With his mind pre-snap, and Mendoza does that better than anybody. He is so good. So I think Tom Brady saw a quarterback that he thinks he sees a lot of himself in. Accurate, can anticipate, can win pre-snap, can win quickly and decisively post-snap as well between the ears because he's so smart. You saw a guy that has a really high floor. The ceiling, I don't know. You got to build the right team around him, which the Raiders are going to have to do because that roster is not good if they do choose to take Mendoza. You saw a guy that's got a high floor, a guy that with the right pieces can be a really, really good quarterback in the NFL.
Quickly.
But maybe not your traditional #1 overall pick with these gaudy physical tools.
I just want to get a quick takes from Pate and Dusty on that. Pate, is Mendoza ready to go be an NFL star at the next level?
Yes is the answer. For Dusty's sake, yes. However, listen to what Jordan just said. He's coming from an organization that is perfectly structured from a college football standpoint. He's going to be tossed into one that in recent memory has been horribly structured. So we do get to see from that cerebral side of the game, we do get to see what that upside is. Because I agree with Jordan. High floor, don't know what the ceiling is. It's just what does the organization become around him? That's the only question I'll really have.
Dusty, next level, Mendoza, your thoughts?
Yeah, he's the #1 overall pick. And all the things Jordan said, I agree. The accuracy, the anticipation. I think he's very athletic. And he's got some toughness and some grit to him. And he's got that innate ability when a play has to be made, third down situations, game on the line type of situations. He has the ability to play at his best. I think there's something to that. And I also just think that the fact of what they just did at Indiana, they need someone who's going to change the fortunes of that franchise. Look at what Mendoza just did at Indiana. You can't tell me Mark Davis, Tom Brady weren't sitting there watching saying, that's our guy. That's our quarterback for the future.
I'm going to ask the NFL guys a little bit later. He's going to be the first pick. Should it be the Raiders who wind up making that pick? We'll talk about that. Everybody stay close.